Hi there, I'm Miss Gretchen. I teach honor orchestra at EDS, Country Lane, Anderson, and Baker, and I'm also the music aide at EDS. So what that means is I teach, I make videos, I do instrument repairs, prepare music, and anything else we could possibly need. I also teach music privately outside of Moreland School District. When MEF was looking for an event, I immediately thought of Peter and the Wolf. I've played it many times. It's one of those pieces that big orchestras often use to introduce students to the orchestra. The whole goal of it is to hear an orchestra and to learn something about it. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to share Peter and the Wolf with you. A little bit of background. Peter and the Wolf was written by a man named Sergei Prokofiev. He's a very famous composer, but one that some people haven't heard of. He was born in the Ukraine, which was then part of Russia. He's lived many, many places in the world, including the United States, but he always returned back to his homeland, Russia. He's written all kinds of music including symphonies, that's for big orchestras, concertos, that's for an orchestra with one person in front playing a solo, operas, those are for singers on the stage and an orchestra, and ballets, which are dancers on the stage. So he's done many, many different things. He wrote this in 1936. It's for an orchestra and a narrator. The narrator tells the story and the orchestra draws the pictures of the story. Each character in the story has its own music. So let's get to know each of the characters so we'll recognize them in the piece. If you're a musician, you might find the little pieces of music on the slide interesting. It's what's being played for that character. The first character is the bird. He's represented by the flute. Flute's part of the woodwind family of the orchestra. Listen to the music and see if you can imagine a bird fluttering around. The next character is the duck. The duck is played by the oboe. That's part of the woodwind family. This might be a new instrument to you. They have something different on them. They have this reed up at the very top. And this thing, this little skinny thing, it's actually, probably hard to see, it's two pieces of wood put together. That's what makes the sound for the oboe. It's usually an instrument we don't see until maybe late middle school, high school. Let's listen to the duck. Did you hear the sound of a duck there? The next one is the cat. The cat is played by the clarinet. It's part of the woodwind family also. The cat sounds very sneaky. Listen to the cat and see if you can hear him sneaking around. Okay, the next one is the wolf. The wolf is played by the French horns. They're one of the instruments in the brass section of the orchestra. The French horns have a very brassy and confident sound. Listen and see if you can hear the wolf growl. Okay, now we start our people in the story. The first one is Peter. Of course, he is the star of the story. The string section in the orchestra plays the Song of Peter. This includes the violins, violas, cellos, and basses, but mostly the violins. He is a very happy boy. If you listen to his music, can you hear him just skipping full of joy down a path? Second person in our story is the grandfather. He's played by the bassoon. This is also part of the woodwind family, and another instrument you might not be familiar with. Remember the reed I showed you for the oboe, where there were two little pieces of wood that vibrate? Well, bassoons are the same way, but it's a much bigger instrument. It's like 4.5 feet long. And the reed that it has is bigger, but it's just like the oboe's reed. See if you can hear the grandfather from this. And the last people in the story are the hunters. The drums are the sound of the hunters. They sound very determined and bold and maybe even threatening. Listen to them. So now that we know all of the characters in the story, it's time to hear the story. For most orchestras, the narrator and the conductor is the person that stands in front of the orchestra and tells them what to do. Most of the time, the narrator and conductor are two different people. In this particular case, they're all in one. I thought that he did a wonderful job of telling the story, which is why I picked this. I hope you enjoy it. Listen for the characters that we just became familiar with, and see if you can find their instruments in the orchestra. The story's about 25 minutes long, and after that, we'll come back and chat.
Once upon a time, early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out into the big green meadow. On a branch of a big tree sat a little bird, Peter's friend. All is quiet, chirped the bird gaily. Just then a duck came waddling around. She was glad that Peter had not closed the gate and decided to take a nice swim in the deep pond in the meadow. Seeing the duck, the little bird flew down upon the grass, settled next to her, and shrugged his shoulders. "What kind of bird are you if you can't fly?" he said. The duck replied, "What kind of bird are you if you can't swim?" and dived into the pond. They argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond, the little bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's eye. He saw a cat crawling through the long grass. The cat thought, "The bird is busy arguing. I'll just grab her." Stealthily, she crept towards him on her velvet paws. "Look out," said Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree. While the duck quacked angrily at the cat. From the middle of the pond, the cat walked around and around the tree and thought, "Is it worth climbing up so high? By the time I get there, the bird will have flown away." Grandfather came out. He was angry because Peter had gone out into the meadow. "It is a very dangerous place," he said. "If a wolf should come out of the forest, what would you do?" But Peter paid no attention to his grandfather's words. Boys like him are not afraid of wolves. But grandfather took Peter by the hand, he locked the gate, and he led him home. But no sooner had Peter left the forest than a big grey wolf did come into the meadow. In a twinkling, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked, but in her excitement, she jumped out of the pond. But no matter how fast the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. It was getting nearer and nearer, catching up with her. And then he got her, and with one gulp, swallowed her. And now, this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on one branch. The bird on another. Not too close to the cat. and the wolf walked round and round the tree, looking up at them with greedy eyes. In the meantime, Peter stood behind the closed gate without the slightest fear, watching all that was going on. He ran home, got a strong rope, and climbed the big stone wall. One of the branches of the tree around which the wolf was walking stretched out over the wall. Grabbing hold of the branch, Peter lightly climbed over onto the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle around the wolf's head. Only please take care that he doesn't catch you." The bird almost touched the wolf's head with his wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at him from this side and that. How the bird did worry the wolf, how the wolf wanted to catch him. But the bird was cleverer than the wolf, and the wolf simply couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Peter carefully made a lasso and letting it down. He caught the wolf by the tail and pulled with all his might. Feeling himself caught, the wolf struggled wildly, trying to get loose. But Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And the wolf's jumping only made the rope around his tail tighter and tighter. Just then, the hunters came out of the woods. Following the wolf's trail and shooting as they went. But Peter, sitting in the tree, said, Don't shoot. Birdie and I have caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo. And there, just imagine the triumphant procession. Peter at the head. And after Peter, the hunters leading the wolf. And winding up the procession, Grandfather and the cat. Grandfather tossed his head discontentedly. Well, and if Peter had ne'er caught the wolf, what then? Above them flew little birdie, chirping merrily. My, what brave fellows we are, Peter and I. Look what we have caught. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear the duck quacking inside the wolf. Because the wolf, in his hurry, had swallowed her alive.
Welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed the story. Some things that we can talk about. And if we're doing this in a place where you can do chat, you can certainly chat toward each other about this or back with your teacher. Did you see anything in the orchestra that you wondered about? That you thought, what was that going on? Didn't make sense. Did you enjoy the story? Could you recognize the characters by their music? What was your favorite character? My favorite character was the cat. I have 2 black cats, so I'm very fond of kitty cats. What instrument matched the character the best? For me, it was the horns and the wolf. I could hear the wolf growling in that da-da-da-da-dun, dun, dun. And what instrument was new to you that you had not ever seen before? The last one is, are there any instruments that you already knew about? So I hope that you enjoyed the story. And I'll say goodbye for now.